this campaign. I started expanding my team and we launched it. And I made some mistakes in terms of, doing too much work up front before getting paid. And my team didn't quite fulfill things as fast because my systems weren't as good as they needed to be. And um, so anyways, after a while, I had to pull the plug on it and I walked away with a bunch of debt because I was trying to pay for my teams and the campaigns and stuff, and it didn't quite work out.
Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Series, where each week we're interviewing businesses that support small businesses. Why? Because small businesses need all the help we can get. We're all in the small business community, and the better we help each other, the better we can continue to go forward. And I have an exciting guest today that is doing website strategy. And when I was doing a pre-interview discussion with him, his mission was amazing, wanting to rid the world of bad websites. Oh, man after my own heart, because I've developed some of those bad websites. I know I can be humble about it, but we're going to get in and we're going to talk with Jeffro, who is the CFRO at FroBro Web Technologies. He specializes in website design, hosting, and the infamous search engine optimization, also known as SEO. Jeffro, great to have you on the call.
Thanks so much, Jason. I'm excited to be here.
Can you give us a snapshot of what your business is and the major outcomes that you get for your clients?
Sure. So my business is essentially a digital marketing company for service businesses. We started as a web design company. That's the core competency when we first got started. I've been building websites forever, but that's what we did. And then we quickly expanded from there because usually when a business owner says, I want a new website, it's because they really want more customers, right? So a website is one piece of that, but then we got to add on other strategies like SEO or ads or something to get people to that website. So we kind of try to look at the whole picture.
Great. Looking at the whole picture around everything is a big part of it. Can you describe who your services work best for?
Yeah, I work with service businesses, which I know is a broad category, but I have, landscapers, I've got mental health clinics and even some small nonprofits, because they tend to have similar needs when it comes to a website. They need to be able to convey who they are through that website and have either resources or next steps for the people at that website and actually get them interested enough to click the button to request a quote or, to donate their money or whatever it is. So that even though the messaging and the imagery might change a little bit, that workflow is very similar. So we don't do e-commerce. We just focus on the service side.
Awesome. Focusing there. So no e-commerce, right? That was a
Right.
big part of there, but focusing on the service side of the businesses and helping any small business that's service-based. And yeah, you're right. It is a broad category, but I love the little niches that you added to it to categorize. What would you say sets your business and approach apart from your competitors?
Well, my background is technology. I'm a computer scientist. That's what I majored in. And so I understand how the websites work on the back end. And so while there's plenty of web designers out there who can make a pretty front to the website, we can do both. We can do the pretty front, make it look good, write good copy that's compelling, but then we also implement it well. That's why we do our own hosting, because we got so frustrated with GoDaddy and other places that it's so slow and painful and there's security holes everywhere. So not only do we make sure the website looks good, we make sure it loads fast, and we can do integrations to other platforms to make sure that this is a functional part of your business's operating workflow. So whether that's integrating to Zapier or your CRM or Google Drive, whatever it is, we can do things that are a little more functional than just, some standard off the shelf templated website.
Yeah, so that when you have a custom hosting package, I can say I grew up in the and built through college and whatnot. I ran broadband service providers and I was a sysadmin. That's how I started out. So
Nice.
man after my own heart, techie, right? Started building websites, focusing on the internet side of the world of how to do networking for IT companies and server-based domains. If you've ever opened your laptop, ready to grow your business, and 2 hours later, closed it, realizing you've gotten nothing done, but you've researched office chairs, you've ordered lunch, and you've planned out the next 3 dinners. All the things that you wouldn't typically do to work on your business. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm Jason Pond. I'm the host of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, and I want you to achieve your breakthrough. But we do that through the community I built. I built the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community is a place where we meet every week and we talk about your goals, where you want to get with your business, and then we track them. And we use the Momentum dashboard to do that. We make sure you're moving forward every week, and it's accountability like you've never seen in a community forum. I want you to be part of that community. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description below and enjoy the rest of the episode. So how do you see the industry? And like, this industry has been around now 25 years, right? Or some will say longer, but I like to go like late 90s is really when things kind of started to come to fruition for the general public. And there's some challenges that have gone through. How are you facing those challenges and tackling them so that your clients get the best possible experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is sometimes shifting, right? Because as we see, the tools are always changing online. There's new platforms that come out. And if you're always trying to jump from the next newest thing back and forth, you're never going to really make much progress. So what I try to do is be the guinea pig for my clients, right? And so as this stuff comes out, I do try it and make sure I understand it, see if there's anything different about it that's going to be helpful before I ever recommend it to a client. And so that means I've tried all sorts of lead generation strategies. I've tried automated website contact form submissions, just crawling the web, submitting stuff, trying to get responses back. There are reasons that's not a good idea, by the way, but we can talk about that if you want. But I try all this stuff to make sure I understand it, and then I can figure out if it applies. Because at the core of digital marketing, it's really just marketing, right? And everyone's been doing this in business for a long time. All we're doing is adapting that approach to the digital environment and the way consumers are behaving now. So in the past, if you've got a storefront, you used to be able to rely on the foot traffic. But now, and especially during the COVID times, people are looking online before they even leave their house. They're not just walking around finding you randomly. They're going on Yelp. They're going on Google Maps. They're looking up reviews to figure out where they're going to go. And if you don't come up in those search results, they don't know you exist and you go out of business. So that's kind of what we're trying to get ahead of, is shifting that mentality of, okay, am I flyering door to door, or am I doing outreach messages on LinkedIn, or am I running ads on Facebook, or whatever the case may be, to make sure you're staying in front of your target customers.
That's an absolute great point. I have watched so many things on social media, people coming up and being like, my business is off track for, I've had a great year in 2023 and 2024 is bad. And they're trying to blame the economy. But the thing about it is, if it's the economy, why are there other businesses that are doing really good? One of the best stories I heard around this is actually from the landscaping, was a conversation with a guy where you're having a conversation with the landscaper and he's like, oh man, things are so rough. I have no business. But you go around the corner and that landscaper's like, I'm having the best year ever. Well, that's because they're looking and adapting to the change in the marketplace. So that insight is absolutely amazing. How do you see your field evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? And how is AI playing a part of that?
Yeah, AI has been changing things very rapidly. And I think to kind of build on top of your point of how we need to look at the way the consumers are behaving, right? We're always online scrolling the feeds. We've got a Disney Plus, we got Netflix, we got all these things streaming entertainment to us at home on demand. And so our brains are kind of, as consumers, we're shifting a little bit to just, we're expecting to be entertained all the time. And so if your website is just information and is boring, like, a lot of people tune out really quickly just because we've become so used to having this constant dopamine hit from TikTok shorts or YouTube shorts, where it's just right to the action right away. And like, ah, haha, that was funny or whatever. And we move on to the next thing. And so we kind of have to shift that way. And what I'm thinking is, I'm trying to find ways where we can help our clients do that. Not just tell them you need to go do this, which is, important, but if we can help them actually build their website in a way that is engaging, or help them create some videos that capture interest on behalf of their clients, because that's what they're going to need. You really have to become, you don't have to become a full-blown media company, but you almost have to think that way at a certain level. Like, okay, we're going to have to spend more time and effort into creating this media experience almost to let people know who we are, what we do, why we're different. And at the core, you're still your same company. Your services haven't changed. It's just how you present it to the world. Catch their attention, make it interesting, make them stick around long enough to say, yeah, I would like to do business with you. And so that's kind of the direction I think it's going. And we've been seeing that.
Wow, that is some great insight. I talk with a lot of different entrepreneurs and business owners. I have not heard it put that way yet. And that is such a critical element of like that media twist. It's very interesting on how you're approaching those ideas. Cause I have been trying to build a YouTube channel for a year and struggle with it. Like technologically wise, I've got all the fun gadgets and gadgets.
Yeah.
It's way more than that. And for some reason, I can't get it in my head how to quite process it to hit the right triggers. Getting closer. We try keep progress every day, right? That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's awesome. Are you ready to shake things up? Have a little bit of a lightning round?
Let's do it.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Neither. Water.
Water. First on that one. Awesome. Cats or dogs?
I like both.
Heard that's an acceptable answer. I got two. I got one of each myself. Okay. If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
From my house? Oh, my car.
Car. Get out of there. I'm out of town. I'm out of here. Let's go. That's a
Can
good
use
one.
it as a weapon if I need to.
Yeah, run them over. Like that. They supposedly they break pretty easy. They're
That's
fragile.
what I hear. I don't have any experience.
Yeah. It's what
Always double tap though. I did learn that.
yes. Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Hmm. No one's coming to save you.
No
Just
one,
recently thought of that. Yeah.
no one's coming to save you. I probably need a little bit of that in my life. Or thinking about that one. Favorite movie or streaming series that you love?
Oh, I have a different answer depending on if we're doing movie or streaming series, but uh The Princess Bride has always been the a classic movie that I love and always is a go-to. Um Streaming series, Loki season 2 was amazing. Both seasons were great, but I like the way that wrapped up.
Okay, I actually have not seen Loki. That my oldest daughter is a massive Marvel fan, watched everything that's ever been produced by him.
Hmm.
But she decided to watch those series at home while I was at work back when I had a day job. So I didn't get to do that. She was homeschooled, so she could
Gotcha.
watch movies after she got her schooling done.
WandaVision is
One,
another great series. Sorry, go ahead.
nope. The one book that has influenced your life the most.
It's hard to pick one because there's so many aspects of our lives, right, that have been influenced by different books. The latest one is Buy Back Your Time with Dan Martell. I know you know him, obviously. Another one that's been influential was by T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That was really helpful with, mindset, beliefs, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's I think one that's been recommended, and I'm gonna have to dig into that one. Yeah, I haven't gotten to read Buy Back Your Time yet. It comes in the mail today. So,
Okay, that's good.
uh, but that's on my new list of it's on the top of the list. So, biggest obstacle you have ever had to overcome, and what did you learn from it?
Well, there's lots of different types of obstacles, but the one that comes to mind is a financial one. Just from growing my business a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, I invested in building up this campaign. I started expanding my team and we launched it. And I made some mistakes in terms of, doing too much work up front for getting paid. And my team didn't quite fulfill things as fast because my systems weren't as good as they needed to be. And um, uh, so, anyways, after a while, I had to pull the plug on it and I walked away with a bunch of debt because I was trying to pay for my teams and the campaigns and stuff, and it didn't quite work out. So I found myself in a really big hole, and so almost 9+ months of figuring out how to kind of reorient the company and get myself out of that and back on track. Was super stressful, majorly painful, but I'm coming out on the other side of it, and I've learned a ton of lessons, which I'm grateful for. And yeah, that has been a big big problem because it has ripple effects elsewhere too, right? Not just on the business, but on personal life and the money I'm bringing to the family and everything. So,
Absolutely. Like that is so critical to hear like what's the challenges that you're dealing with. And small business owners, listen, it's very, very challenging to run a business. You know this. But listen to Jeff Rowe's voice in there. Like there's humbling there. It's not a matter that we made a mistake. It's a matter did we learn from the mistakes that we've had. You're either growing or you're learning. Failure is not an option in this business world that we live in. Hey, it's been a great interview. What, if anything, Jeff Rowe, can our listeners be able to do if they want to collaborate with you to maybe have some of your services or enjoy some of your unique offers?
yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Jeff Rowe. I should come up. Or if you go on Instagram, jeffrowe.official, send me a message. You can put in the word podcast and let me know that you came from here, and I will give you a free website audit. I'll record a Loom video, go over your site, say, hey, here's some things you could fix. You could do it on your own. You don't have to hire me, but that way we'll all move in the direction of better websites and the world will be a better place.
Yeah, that is great. Great to hear. It has been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today, Jeff Rowe. And until next time.